One of the biggest complaints that we get every day out here on the tennis courts is I can't improve my tennis game because I'm not here enough. I don't have enough time in my day to play enough tennis. But we're here to tell you that all you need is 1 hour. We're gonna show you exactly what you should be doing in a 1 hour lesson to actually improve and see huge results in your tennis game. There are 3 key elements to making your 1 hour lesson really effective and efficient so that you can actually see development. The first one is focus. It's all about having the right focal point. If I go out and I'm doing drop fed balls by myself and I'm working on my forehand, say, now I don't want to make sure that I'm just hitting the ball and I'm working on swing path and I'm working on, oh, that ball didn't go in, I need to add topspin. Oh, that one was too high. Oh, my rack face angle is probably wrong. Oh, I'm also not working on the coil. I'm going to work on one specific thing on my forehand, especially if you're doing technique. So it's all about, okay, this one time, no matter whether I'm drop feeding or Kevin's drop feeding to me, my coach, I'm going to work on a unit turn. And that's going to be my sole focus. Now we move on and we're working on something else. I still work on the unit turn, even in a different progression, because that's going to be number 2 important key element is progressions. So you want to take yourself through some progressions. You don't want to just be like, okay, I'm going to work on my unit turn. You're going to drop feed me some balls, Kevin. And then now we're going to hit from baseline to baseline and I'm going to work on my unit turn. That's really, really difficult. So you need some progressions in between. So it might be, okay, now you drop feed, now you feed me some balls. Now after some balls, and I'm really working on just the unit turn there too. Now you go back and we're hitting short court and I'm just working on unit turn. Now we go mid court and I'm just working on unit turn. Now we go baseline and I'm just working on unit turn. Now this could all be within a 20-minute segment that we're doing these progressions. And then you can work on something else like your backhand technique. But you have, again, one focal point and going through all of the different progressions to actually getting to where you need to be. And maybe you just put a time limit on it and you get to wherever that progression is. You don't want to push so far that you're outside of that actually learning curve, and so then it just goes downhill and you start going back and reverting back to whatever you did. Now, you can also, there's this stigma out there about how you can't work on multiple things in a 1 hour lesson. You need to have one focus point, meaning you need your forehand the whole time. That's not wrong. You definitely can do that. But the goal is that even within that, if you're doing a 1 hour lesson on your forehand, you're not working on 5 different things on your forehand. You're working on one thing. And then it's better to actually work on maybe your forehand, then your backhand, then your serve, and with one focal point each one and doing a few progressions on each one. Those are things that you can actually take away and work on when you're away from the court. Now the other idea is expectations. And this is the 3rd key element, and it's really, really important. And here's why. Most people go out and they're like, okay, I have worked on my forehand technique with Kevin now, and all I've been doing is unit turn. I feel really, really confident now when we're hitting baseline to baseline now and me working on technique. So I've done all my progressions. Now I'm ready to play match. And so I go out and I go straight into the match, and then it all goes downhill and I just suck it up. And the goal is that you have to understand that that's not going to get to that match play situation to where you're working perfectly on the unit turn when you haven't put any pressure on yourself inside your practice. So there are multiple progressions between even me hitting with my coach, Kevin, baseline to baseline, working on my unit turn on my forehand and using it in a match play situation. And we're gonna go over that kind of scenario in a different video, how to put pressure on yourself in your practices to help mimic match play. But today, I really want you to have that expectation that there's some steps in between and that it's not just I've worked on it today and it's gonna work in match play tomorrow, because it just doesn't work that way. So having the right expectations is key. So remember, number 1, focus point. I don't care if your focus point is technique. I don't care if your focus point is, I'm gonna get every ball deep today. I don't care if your focus point is, I'm gonna hit every ball 5 foot over the net today. Or I'm really gonna focus on my opponent today and not focus on me today in my practice. Whatever that element is, you have one focus point that you're really zeroing in on. That way you can take that away once you're done with your lesson. Number 2, progressions. Don't just go from drop feeding to hitting from the baseline or playing out points. It's not gonna work, it's not gonna stick, no matter what you're working on. If you're working on hitting the ball up higher over the net, you're still not going to be able to go from drop fed straight into match play. It's just not gonna work. Same thing, third, expectations, right? Number 3 key element, expectations. This is a big one because a lot of people miss this one. Making sure you understand it's not jumping straight to match play. There are a lot of progressions that are between those. And you can see now how all of these 3 work into making this 1 hour the most effective and productive thing that you can do for your tennis game and your development. Doesn't matter how good you are, if you work on these 3 key elements, when you go out in your 1 hour match, you will see improvements over time, I guarantee it.